as Norman this morning. But look at this. This is trying for him. Just shades past. He's lying with two, but he's having an awful lot of bother with this man from Blackburn, the 30-year-old plumber from Blackburn, Mick O'Donnell, the left-hander. His road has been invariably good. His length has been often impeccable, and that's trying for him, but has it done enough? Surely. Just the one. What a good ball. It's been like that all the way through. Referee Will Oates, local man. 11-12 with the jack. Let's have a look at this, Roy Armstrong. This is the style then of Mick O'Donnell. Isn't it awkward?
It is very awkward indeed, because he faces in a totally different direction to the one in which he sends the jack. When you're standing behind him, you think he's going to send the jack straight up the green, and suddenly it's going in a position about 30 degrees different. He's very difficult to follow, and at the moment, this morning, this game's been very much cat and mouse. Neither of the players has been able to lead really well. But Mick, in fact, has been going on a different mark every end. He's been taking Norman all round the green.
Yes, I fancy Roy with that difficult sort of style. He may have problems in getting into the far corners if Norman reverts to that policy with the bias. Took out one. He's now 43. He's not bowling as much as possible, and Roy, we felt possibly this was a reason why his game was a little inconsistent earlier on.
Yes, indeed. Norman's been very much stuck in the comfort zone. He's doing quite well with his business. Consequently, he isn't playing in as many tournaments, and it's showing in his play. Normally, he would have led much nearer than that, but from the footer, it's all downhill to this position. They're coming all downhill, about 28 yards, and Norman's a good 2 yards past.
But that's way off the land. That's on a different track altogether. Good chance here for two, and that would level the scores again. Length looks good. He's coupling up. Well bowled. Good two, Mick O'Donnell. Now, Roy, where's he going now? He's certainly not going to go full corners, is he? He's going to sort of halve it, but this is the difficult style.
Yes, this is where he played early on in the game, and he played two very good bowls. He's playing right across the crown of the green. Mick's playing his finger peg, which is his round peg. He's going a distance of about 35 yards, and the jack is quite close to the edge there. It's all uphill with a downhill finish.
Now then, has he got the length right? He looks pretty good from here. Just drops a couple of feet short. Good bowl. And a good mark for a left-hander, a good swinging mark. Fletcher has a sighter. Just needs to nudge his way past. Nope. The record between the two very much in Fletcher's favour. That's almost a delivery out of the side of the hand. It's incredible.
Yes, in fact, he's actually, Brian, a bit early on, he's wobbled a couple of bowls, hasn't he?
He has. He reminded me very much of Mick Robinson from Yorkshire, left-hander, who's got this sort of crab-like style, but that is definitely almost... well, it is side of the hand job, that. Yes, one of the Fletcher strikes here. It's one against him. If he can take the bowl out, he's unlucky. He's hit the stopper. And he's left one.
O'Donnell one.
So Mick O'Donnell, who started the game at even money against Fletcher, who was odds on, 6-4 on to win the heat, is now leading 14-13. 25-1 shot for the title, Mick O'Donnell, while Fletcher was being quoted at 12-1. And again, I would say, Roy, he's had the jack, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9-10 times, O'Donnell. He has never gone back to the same mark.
I think actually he's just gone back twice, and it's fascinating to watch him really, because he's making Norman think, and he's stopping him from getting into his stride. Norman doesn't quite know where he is, but that bowl's 5 feet off, and really the Norman Fletcher bowl should beat that with ease.
If he can get past the short bowl, which he does. He's got to stop then. A bit indifferent. He's not settled, Norman Fletcher. He likes to dictate the pace. He's a quick bowler, no professional player. This time, the man who really is calling the tune is the man from Blackburn, Nick O'Donnell. Referee can't split him. They've got to be beaten. No, he's opened the way. He's nudged one up. He's definitely lying to O'Donnell, but he's really opened the front door. Huge gap for Fletcher to exploit. Gotta run, gotta run. It's limping, isn't it? It's got it. It's got it.
Fletcher one.
Gift. $14 across. This the 23rd end. Good crowd here at the Woodland Hotel. Just before 20 to 11. Very good turnout on the first day. A greener picture. Well, he's not right, you know. He's a good yard short. That's all right. That'll do. But he has shifted. Now it's a different way in, Roy, isn't it?
Yes, very fortunate connection that. He was almost off the green with that, and he's left Norman 3 yards short now, and Norman's got to put some in, and in doing so he's got to be very careful because the jack is now just a yard off the edge.
He's trying, he's running, he needs a hit. He's not got a hit. He's going to get another sort of hit though, right in the ditch. Great chance for two.
O'Donnell two.
Yes, couples up well. Important time to lead. 16-14. O'Donnell's lead, having set off 4-1, 5-1, 5-3, 8-5. They were level at 10. Fletcher away to 13-11. And now 16-14 O'Donnell. And again, sort of halving the green, a 30-yard mark. Got to find his own way in.
He's making Norman think here, Brian. He's coming out of the heavy part of the green, and it's all uphill, but the finish, the last 8 yards, is the fastest part of the green. And it's not a bad lead, it's just a yard off.
It's not bad, Roy, because past there it will run, so Norman's got to be ever so careful just to nudge past. He's waving it on, and he thinks it's given up on him, but in fact his road was just a bit off. Well, we're talking about the hard road to get to this competition, 32 champions, but really that's the start of the trouble, because then you're up against it. Look at this. Nudge it forward for two. Thank you. No question of the strike. Fletcher has to play up. Two lying against him, and he's 16-14 down. He's got to be far enough. Oh, it's on its last legs. He got out of jail, didn't he? That's the one to Norman Fletcher. He's back in it. But it's Mick O'Donnell who's still leading. Fletcher very much the stylist. Nice, pleasant, easy delivery. (15-16) off the mat. Fletcher with the jack. Fair lead by Fletcher.
Yes, he's shortened the game down here. He's conscious of the fact that each time he's led deep into the corners, he's not made a very good lead, and he's shortened it down considerably. He's only playing about 32 yards now, and consequently he's played a ball a little bit nearer.
Fletcher with the one bowl counting. Just needs the same bowl, and he's dropped it short, but it really is in the road, Roy, isn't it, a little bit? He's got to come round that.
It is in the way. I don't think it's quite what Norman intended. He would have liked it, I think, around about 1 yard and 6 inches a bit further. Possibly counting two. They're having a good long look at them now, because if he's only one, Mick O'Donnell will attempt to come the other peg and cut that ball out.
Yes, it's not easy. He's waiting for Will Phelps and Norman Fletcher to indicate who's on for the second bowl, and they've not sorted it out, so he's got to play up and try and beat him. This the last bowl of the 25th end. Has it won it? It has, hasn't it? No, Fletcher's just indicated to the crowd he thinks he's on. We'll wait for Mick O'Donnell. Fletcher won. What a good time to count. He was confident. 16-16. 16 across. 16 across. So we'll leave you just for a moment, but we'll be back very soon. More action from the Bassmasters. Are we in for a shock? Dressing room wall, pick yourself up, and you play bowls tomorrow, because that's what it's all about. It's all about sport, it's all about good fun, but it's certainly the first shock, and it's 21-18, the first shock of this, the first game. Norman Fletcher, head down, has gone. Right, now then, Elton is with Roy Armstrong. Now then, lads, what do you make of all that?
Well, indeed, a major surprise, Brian, I suppose you could say. But Roy, you sort of semi-predicted that might happen. You weren't really happy with Norman's preparation for this tournament.
That's right, yes. And I think Norman has not played as much bowls as he has in the past, and I think that reflected in the play. He was tentative, and his leading wasn't like it normally is. Mick O'Donnell played a really good game, took him all round the green.
Plenty of fireworks, though, weren't there?
Yes, some real good striking, and typical of Norman, but Mick did a real good job on him, didn't he?
Roy, let's have a look at what we can expect to see today, and the top half of the draw. Well, we'll see it momentarily, but I think one of the big innovations of the Bassmasters 88 is the fact that we've got lady bowlers taking part, and we'll be able to see one very shortly in Pat Davies. Yeah. Now, is this good for the game?
Certainly it is, yes. I think that there should be more of this interchange. Myself, I'd like to play in some of the ladies' tournaments. I'd like to play against the ladies. Yeah.
You get plenty of practice, of course, don't you, against Doris, your wife, who's a very good player.
Oh, yes, yes. But Pat Davies is also a very good player. On a green like this, they have no physical problems because it's quite an easy reach into the corners. The only thing that they can't do, I think that the fellas can do down here, is perhaps strike as hard, just like we've seen. But they've every chance of progressing. Yeah, certainly have.
That's not too good for the old macho image, is it? For one of the guys to lose to one of the gals. It's something you've got to live down, isn't it?
It's very hard, yes. Ken Armitage knows all about that. He knows he's got a problem. What he's got to do out there is do a professional job. Treat Pat Davies with the utmost respect, but do a real first-class professional job, and he's aware of that.
Now, of course, this is another of the innovations this week, as I mentioned right at the start of the programme, is that also we have lady referees as well in Mary Ashcroft. But here we have the draw for the first round, the top half of the draw, Roy. Now, out of those 4 matches, we'll be seeing Pat against Ken just in a moment or two. But what about Mark Britton from Wigan, who's joint favourite for this tournament with Brian Duncan at 6-1?
Yes, everybody's been really impressed with Mark Britton this year. Unfortunately, Mark is unemployed, but as a consequence of that, he's playing every day, and he's a real mean machine. This man is a killer, and that is why he's joint favourite. His success record this year is first class. He's a young lad, brought up in a very hard school in Wigan, and that's the reason for the bookmakers' confidence in him. Pete Varney, of course, is a very good player from the North Midlands area, but Mark Britton's been knocking him down all this season.
All right, Roy, well, let's see the first of the ladies, Pat Davies, against now one of your protégés, Ken Armitage.
Yes, I've been able to help Ken on 1 or 2 occasions. He's a real good lad, and in Warrington, which is a hotbed of bowling, of course, there's literally hundreds of bowlers in Warrington. I think Ken's just about the best player in Warrington, won quite a lot of tournaments, and I'm sure that his attitude will be right for the job this morning.
OK, Roy, well, you've got to make your way through to the commentary box there as we see Mary Ashcroft, our lady referee here this week. The match between Davies and Armitage is I think it's moved on to 3-0, but I know that Hugh Johns can bring us right up to date with the score.
Yes, Elton, you're dead right.
I mean,
Ken opened up with a double, and despite a brave attempt by Pat with her last delivery then, she didn't quite beat the winning bowl of Ken Armitage, so he picks up another single. He's 3-0 in front. A little bit of sun has been creeping through over the last hour, and the green already beginning to speed up just a little bit in beautiful, beautiful condition. Ken, excellent lead ball, looking now to pair up with it. He has a very sweet follow-through action, Ken Armitage. Nice grooved style. Pat then. She really does need to get in here and show us the high qualities that she's already established in the ladies' game. Good touch. I wonder if that has, in fact, stolen a shot.
Armitage, 1.
Now, Ken Armitage got a single there. So he leads 4-0. Roy Ken using a mark that he's already found quite happily in this game. No reason to change it.
Yeah, that's right. I was talking to Ken before the game, and both he and Pat have put quite a bit of practice in on this green, and he said he was going to stick to the mark that he'd practiced, and he'd found it quite well, but he's left Pat too much room here. He's 4 feet past, and Pat's played quite a good ball, just 2'6" over.
Yes, there must be just a little dip past the block there, because Pat's ball was on a very good road, seemed to have stopped, and then it ran on. Ken followed almost exactly the same line, stopped to win it at this moment. Pat, creeping, 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 creeping. Yes, she's in. And a big audience here this morning.
Davies,
Well pleased
1.
with that. Well, it really must be a matter of considerable pride for Pat and the other two ladies to be given an equal opportunities entry to this major competition.
This is the most fantastic thing that could have happened to ladies bowls, really, to get invited onto the Bassmasters.
How do you feel about playing against men? Does it worry you?
Oh no, we regard it as a challenge, very much a challenge.
Is there a great difference in the standard between the men and the women?
Yes, I think the men are better bowlers at the moment, but I think the ladies are catching up.
What is the main difference then? What have they got that you haven't?
Well, I think when it comes to the heavier greens and the big greens, you know, I think they can go a lot further than we can. But on a smaller, faster green, I think we can give them a good game.
Well, you've just rolled over just over 2 foot.
Well, let's see now if Pat can really give Ken a good game here. She's on the board at last. Made a tentative start to this match against Ken Armitage. Needed some running in that bowl. Woefully short. Oh no, Ken. That is definitely not going to arrive.
Armitage, 1.
But his first bowl was good enough, and he takes a single. So 5-1 to Ken Armitage. Ken, who won the Tetley Walker Open to qualify for this competition. Quite a good field in that, Roy.
Yes, indeed. There's most of the top players take part in that competition. It's a floodlit one and finalises at the end of October. And it was a particularly good final this year. Ken actually beat John Bancroft, who of course we'll be seeing here this week.
And of course that was last year. And similarly, Pat was one of the earliest qualifiers for the competition in winning the Ladies Waterloo. A £1,000 prize in a fine victory, 21-10 over Audrey Rowbottom. But she's really got to start finding that form that made her such a fine champion at Blackpool's Waterloo last year. This one's trying for her. Go on a bit further. Nope. That'll be another single for Ken Armitage.
Armitage, 1.
So, 6-1. Ken in front. I don't know what Ken might think of lady bowlers, but I do know that it was his wife Marion, in fact, who introduced him to the game. That's strange. I think, Roy, most men tend to introduce their wives at some stage of the proceedings, but I've not heard of a woman who introduced her wife to him before.
It's the opposite way about. Anyway, it's one way of keeping him out of the club.
Well, Pat's got a good line there. Go on, go on.
Well, a cracking start to this year's Bass Masters, and you'll be able to find out how this game finishes a little later on. Hello again. We've had an eventful start, to say the least, to this year's Bass Masters in Ellesmere Port. One of the most fancied bowlers, N Fletcher, going out to Mick O'Donnell. That was the first game on. Well, I suppose one of the most unusual aspects to this year's tournament is the participation of 3 women bowlers. Now, Pat Davies was in action earlier on against Ken Armitage of Warrington, who skated off into a considerable lead. But Pat soon showed that the gap between men and women in this game isn't as wide as you might think.
So Pat now just 5 down. 12-17. And again, a very short little curly mark.
I think Pat's not too bothered about playing short lengths, because the way Ken is striking, he's not hitting anything except the boards. He's just getting the white paint off his bowls. But it's not too good of a lead. She could have done with being another 1 yard and 6 further on than that.
Pat with it all to do with this one. Desperately needs a couple more chalks here. Oh, no, 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 Pat. Ken bumped that one away a little bit. Maybe the nerves are getting to him. Yes.
Armitage, 1.
Wasn't one of his better deliveries. 18-12, Ken Armitage. So Ken with the comfort of a 6 chalks advantage, needing 3 more to go into the second round.
He's very short, you know, Hugh, with this jack. It's close to the minimum distance of 19 metres.
I wonder if Pat has... No, she didn't even contemplate questioning it. Well, that bowl around the back just might be useful. Good ball, Ken. Really needs to make a contact here, does Pat? There's no way that she can draw in to win or to save. So she's signaled that she wishes to use some weight. And just missed by a whisker. Well, that's two very, very vital ones for Ken Armitage. All but 12. Ken Armitage. Yes. Come on, Pat. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Now, whatever happens in this game, Roy, I think Ken Armitage will remember it for a long time.
He certainly will. He's had to pull out all the stops, and that ball's done a bit of a miracle there. It looked like being narrow, and it's faded away just under the crown, and it's hit one of the little hollows, and it looks as though it might be favourite for counting.
Yes, Pat, surely. Needed to hit. One for certain. I think that turned out to be a saving bowl, match saving bowl.
Davies, 1.
I think a lot of the crowd felt that she'd got 2 there. I must admit, from this position up here too, I thought so for a moment or two. So Pat trying another round peg mark into the corner underneath the leaderboard. She got it wrong the last time she went this way. This lead is important. I'm sure she wished she had that bowl back in her hand. Ken looking for the one that will give him the match. No sign from Mary Ashcroft there. That's on. Ken wanting to know who is second now.
All likely for 2, Ken.
Ken trying to draw it. Well, definitely 1 for Pat Davies. So she continues to fight for her life here.
Davies, 2.
2 it is. Massive roar of applause for Pat Davies from a very partisan audience here. I think many of the men too are giving a little cheer to Pat's fighting qualities.
This is a good tactical ploy that Pat's adopting now. She's fighting for her life. It's the last stand, and she's decided to go a bit of distance. Coming around about 38 yards, finger peg just under the crown, and it's all uphill to this position.
Whoa, stop. Now the odds are that Ken might be short here, the way he has been bowling. And he is. Keep going, keep going, keep running. Now, is that another 2? No, it's just 1. Although Pat's looking very hard at it.
1.
1 it is. 16-20, Pat Davies with the block in her hand. And she's scored now for the first time in this match on 3 consecutive ends. Oh, Pat, you're well short.
I think she was somewhat unsure of herself there because she stopped the jack a lot shorter than where she intended to go. I think she wanted that jack to go another 4 or 5 yards.
Ken's on for the match with that bowl. This might be just the last delivery that Pat will deliver in this 1988 Bass Masters. Yes, it is. The handshake follows, and despite her gallant efforts, Pat Davies is out of the competition. Ken Armitage, who had a few dodgy moments when Pat came back at him hard, stayed in there and wins it, 21-16.
Well, there we are, a game played in a wonderful spirit, and joining me now, the victor and the vanquished, but I think you enjoyed it.
Very enjoyable. I enjoyed my game with Ken, and good luck to him. He played very well.
Was it as traumatic as you thought it might
So
be?
it was, yeah. I think, to be quite fair, I think she played really well, and I think I played a good game, and I got to a good start, and I got a good length, and Pat didn't get a good length, and the game went on from there, and she struggled a bit until the end, and then she started playing real well and put me under a bit of pressure. Plus the people, which is obvious, everybody wanted her to win, and so it's very, very difficult.
Did the crowd lift you as the game progressed?
Oh yes. When they started, shouting and I started playing well, it was a great feeling out there. Really great. So.
Now there are 2 ladies left, Maureen Lyons and Sue Plumley. Do you think one or both will have the temperament to do well here and progress to the second round?
Yes, I hope so. Keep my fingers crossed for them. I'll be shouting for them. Really hope they get through.
Would you have a word of advice maybe for their opponents, Ken? I mean, how to treat playing against a lady bowler, which is unusual for them. I mean, it mustn't sound sexist. I mean, that would be wrong, but it is unusual. It's never happened before in a major tournament.
I think both the ladies' opponents that are going to play later today and tomorrow. I mean, Sue Plumley I know very well. She lives quite near to me. She plays in the same club as I play in, and I think the lads or the men, they've just got to go on and treat them both, or they've got to treat the ladies as an opponent who plays bowls to a very high degree. They must play to a very high degree, all the ladies, because they wouldn't be here if they didn't.
Do you think this could be the start of something new?
I really hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
You enjoyed the big stage and the cameras and all that?
Yes, fantastic. Yeah.
Lovely, Pat, thanks very much indeed. We won't see you in the second round, but we did hope to see you again throughout the week.
Around, yeah.
Feel good. And Ken, well done. We'll see you
very much.
for sure.
Thank you very much.
In the second round. Well, what we're going to do now is go to the game which is taking place on the green between Mark Britton, who is, that's Mark, who is actually the favourite at 6-1 from the top half of the draw. So, looking at the scoreline against his opponent Peter Varney, you've got to say that this really is quite a surprise, because Peter Varney really has skated away into a big lead. He's 16-4 in front as we join our commentators, Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
Yes, Elton, and re-emphasising what you said, Peter Varney, the 16 he's got, he's scored 6 doubles in that score. He's just picked up another one. And he's 17-4 in front. And Brian, we're surely on the way to one of the major upsets, not only of this competition, but of the whole season.
Yes, Britain, very much the form player of the season. He's joint favourite at 6-1, or was when we started the game with Brian Duncan for this title. He's been in something like 11 finals this year, certainly 7 of them of the major type, and he's won 3 competitions. He comes here in good nick. But you've got to say this for Peter Varney, the rank outsider, 40 to 1 for the title. He has played some exceptional bowls.
There or thereabouts, constantly. It really has been some cracking stuff that he's put up. He's there again.
You know they have dope tests in bowls now. We better drag him in. You can't keep playing bowls within an inch or 2 inches of the jack like this. Tremendous stuff.
Well, I'm sure young Mark Britton, 25 years old, never really expected to have this sort of thing put on him. 19-4 with that double, which is the 7th double that Varney has scored in the match. Peter Varney, the left-hander from the West Midlands near Coventry. Seems appropriate that he's wearing the pale blue colours of Coventry City. Let's push this block right into the corner.
Now here's a surprise, Hugh, isn't it? He's never been that far away from the jack. He's a yard, and Britton is on the way before the ball stops.
A little tiny bowls that Mark Britton has. They're much smaller than the big ones of Peter Varney. Peter Varney, very much a bowls fanatic. He, when he married his lovely wife Kim, first thing he did was build a small bowling green in his back garden. 37 yards by 20 to get as much practice as possible. Well, having extolled the virtues of Peter Varney in portions of the game that you haven't been able to see, suddenly he's bowled 2 bad ones. So, Mark Britton scores a single. 5-19. And that only the 5th time in the match so far that Mark Britton has got his A bowl closer to the block than Peter Varney. Britton so anxious to get that bowl on its way that it's almost arrived before the block has finished running. I think the bookie's board in the background there has changed quite dramatically already. Peter Varney here was, well, that gives you an indication of where we are. The Woodland Hotel. Good bowls and good beer.
Varney 2.
And that's it. 2 for Peter Varney. And the favourite, one of the major favourites, is out of the competition. One of the big upsets of this tournament. Mark Britton walks away disconsolately as Peter Varney goes into the players' room, full of bubble, full of bounce, with a 21-5 victory here. We're going to take a short break at this time. We'll be back with more live action in a moment.
That it's been an eventful start to the Bassmasters 1988. After the match we've just seen, I think quite extraordinary would be a better description, Roy. Mark Britton, tipped by you at the start, as possibly the man to go through from the top half of the draw. He was joint favourite at 6 to 1, and he's been pulverised.
Absolutely, yes. Mark Britton has been in one of those moods, I would call it out of sorts with himself, and he went worse. But to be fair, Peter Varney's played a real outstanding game. The last time we saw him on television, he was at Carnmull when he played awfully, he only scored 8. But this morning, he's been really outstanding, and Mark Britton's never had a chance, and once he got in that mood, it all left him.
Now, Mark Britton is a relatively new name to me, and I think to put the thing into perspective, Roy, he's reached 11 finals this season, which is a remarkable record, and for him to collapse as he did there must have sent shockwaves through all the competitors here.
Certainly has. Mark Britton, no doubt about it. He's been in real good form this year, qualified all over the place. Consistency has been the hallmark of his play, and this morning he's just not got with it. I think it's one of those occasions where it's the first game of the tournament, vulnerable in the first game, and he's come worse.
Look, now what does it take then to succeed on this green?
Well, I suspect that Mark may not have put in the required practice. Now, I think you need to come to this green, you need to put a lot of practice in, possibly 6-10 hours, because there's all sorts of traps, uphills and downhills, approaching from different angles, that kind of thing, and I don't think perhaps Mark has done that. You know, maybe he hasn't been able to get over here as often as he would have liked. But that's what you need to know where you're going and from which angle you're approaching a particular point from.
Now, we've had great weather on the Wirral for the last 3 or 4 days, very little rain, a lot of sun, and it's quite breezy today. That usually means that the green is fast, and we have seen, which is indicative, haven't we? We've seen a lot of bowls running off into the gutter, which again is a sign that the green is quite quick and quickening.
Yes, there's been a heavy dew this morning. It was quite wet first thing, and as you say, with the sun coming out and the drying wind, and all the 4 corners are down. All the 4 corners have a shelf, and once you get into the corner, it's very difficult to stop the bowl. Ideally, you need to be just short of the jack, because if you pass it, you're going to be 2 yards over.
All right, Roy, well, let's see the next game on. Live action here from the Bass Masters at the Woodlands Hotel in Ellesmere Port. Now, another new name to me, playing in yellow there, Roy, Alan Bird.
Alan Bird is a very capable player. He's a regular Greater Manchester County player, plays a lot in the Chatterton League, the North Manchester League, and although he's relatively young, he's been playing for about 25 years, and he's known in the Manchester area as an expert on the Star Inn Green at Failsworth. A very capable young player.
Now, his opponent, 43 years of age, there he is, V MacDonald, who qualified for this event by winning the Wire Festival in Blackpool. Now, it often happens, I find, with bowlers from out there on the Fylde coast, that they don't often travel, and the likes of yourself, who's so experienced on the Crown Green scene, you know, you've hardly come across him at all.
That's right. I would say he is new to most of the players here, apart from Ron Betty, who lives in Blackpool, and Vic actually won the Fleetwood competition, as you say, and he won it in appalling conditions because it was very, very windy, and as most players will tell you, those are the most difficult conditions to combat. So he comes here with a record of having won that tournament out of about 700 entries. So he's a new name to us all, and we'll be very interested to see just how he copes with this Woodland Hotel green.
Well, he's taken a lead here, Roy. I wonder whether it's a sign. It's a bit windy. Maybe he likes the wind.
Could well be, yeah, we'll just have to see.
Right, V MacDonald leading by 3 chalks to 1. Roy's going to make his way to the commentary box now, and let's hear from Brian Brett.
Well, yes, we've got a nice little start here, getting within a foot or so of the jack, which is always nice, and V MacDonald, 3-1 his advantage. Went down to see Vic earlier today with his great pal Ron Betty, who is playing in the competition later today, and the lads were very keen, very eager. For the moment, 2 lying against Alan Bird, but there is room if Vic can just sneak through. Got it. So, 2 to Alan Bird. And we're all square. 3 across. They peel at 3 is the old-fashioned expression in Crown Green bowls, meaning they are level. And did we clear that one at Roy Armstrong, you now joined us? The Wire Festival Fleetwood, of course. A lovely competition played in Marine Gardens and various other greens, and has been raining for the last 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah, I think whoever wins that competition deserves it, because as I understand it, they go round on about 6 different greens, and you have to master not just one green but several greens. And when the wind blows, it can blow in different directions, both off the sea and towards the sea, and it alters the running. So V MacDonald here has done really well to win that tournament.
Yes, exceptional competition, the Wire Festival, very well run by Phil Hudson and his team over there. Here Alan Bird from the North Manchester School of Bowls, the Academy of Bowls out there, very tough circuit. MacDonald, his last bowl. Has he won it?
MacDonald, 1.
Mary Ashcroft again, the referee, just confirming it with Alan. Accepted, 1 to MacDonald. 4-3. The funny thing is with Vic MacDonald, he was so aware that people may not know the name outside the File Coast area that he sent me a letter, and he explained a few things he'd won. And he said the night I won the Wire Festival, my pal Ron Betty was qualifying by winning the Bass Diamond at Leighton Institute. So that was a nice Friday night double for the lads. Good bowl here. Good bowl. Alan Bird, been around a bit, Roy, as you say, young man, been bowling a long time. Just got the feeling that he's slightly underneath the surface. He's got to make the big break, hasn't he? He's got to win a big one.
Yes, of course, to qualify for this event, he's won the Joshua Tetley Meltham handicap, and that green is a real testing green, so he's done really well to do that. I think Alan might look upon this week as his big chance, and if he gets through this game, I feel sure he'll think that he's on the way. He's got the experience, he's got the ability, he's a versatile player, he can play all kinds of lengths. It's a matter of the old thing, confidence.
It's all on the day, as our friend Brian Duncan always tells us now. Is this the right day for Alan Bird? Aye, aye. Home to roost. 2. 5-4. Alan Bird leads. He is by trade a printer. He started bowling, as many people have in the local park, just watching and joining in, and then his first achievement was winning a handicap at Failsworth Park. The one at Meltham, Roy, you spoke about, Joshua Tetley, I think he beat Ken Strutt, his sparring partner over there, didn't he?
Yes, that's right. It's that green can be very difficult. It's very high. It's one of the highest places in England. The wind blows, and I think I lost in the final there about 5 years ago, and it can be different each time you go. So Alan's done really well to win that, and he's a great student of the game. He's studied different types of bowls. I think he's tried about 10 different pairs of bowls, and the ones he's playing with now are £2.12 composition bowls, and Vic MacDonald actually is playing with a lighter bowl. He's only £2 8 ounces, which is something more akin to a lady's bowl.
Yes.
Bird, 1.
Put it back on when we go. Well, no thinking.
Chances of these two.
Yes, Alan Bird was 4-6, and Vin MacDonald was even. So the bookmakers had a strong opinion in favour of Alan Bird, and here he again, he's showing his versatility, playing thumb peg, around about 46 yards, right up into the heavy part of the green.
I think as looking further ahead to win the competition, whether they're to the range of the shocks continue. Manchester even using the interest, they'll be favourites, Mike Jones. So Alan Bird taking a long look at this.
Measures? Measures, please. Got them 1 against the 2, Alan.
They're having a measure now. Nearest bowl's about 5 feet off. And we have Joe Owen and Frank Lomax coming to measure the end. Bit of a struggle for V MacDonald at the moment. He's not quite got his length right.
Yes.
Yes, Joe Owen. I'm now on the other mic. Can you pick me up?
Yes. Try the other one,
A
please.
bit of microphone problem there, but we've sorted things out as Joe Owen and Frank Lomax
Near it.
start the measure.
Bird.
There we go.
1.
Bird 1. So away goes Alan Bird. 7-4. Good time. It's 2-3-4. The break over the last 3 ends, picking his way around the green in the way we expect Alan Bird to play this game, Roy.
He's playing a very clever game, isn't he? Yes, he's not settling on any one mark. He's just gone 45 yards, and now he's playing just about 32 yards, playing finger peg, bias towards the ditch, round peg over the crown. It runs a little bit there, and he's about 4 feet past the jack.
Certainly time V MacDonald got back into things. Started well, led 4-3, now it's against him at 7-4. Green is running. Now a good connection, still plenty of room. Looks better, looks much better. Nice. Just asking the Vic how many against him because he wants to put some weight into the bowl. It's on its way. No, sir. Leaves 1, certainly not the lethal striking we've seen earlier today from N Fletcher. Although that didn't count for much at the end of the day because he went. The opening success. So there's 1 to Alan Bird. 8-4. The break continues. Alan Bird, as we spoke earlier, the Joshua Tetley competition, 128 entries, but they're all top-class players. It's played at Meltham in Yorkshire near Huddersfield. And how nice to see some money coming back this side of the Pennines after what people like Robert Hitchin and Gary Wallace have been doing, sneaking back over the M62 with money from Lancashire and Cheshire. Disgraceful. Well, Vic isn't quite right, is he, Roy? The last couple of ends, he's been a little bit all over the place.
Yes, Alan's taking him uphill and downhill, and he's mesmerised Vic, and I'm sure that Vic has never experienced anything like this. Apart from being in the final of the Fleetwood competition, he's never been on the green on his own, I doubt, and certainly never been in front of television cameras, so it's all a nerve-wracking experience for him, and he certainly could do with getting hold of the jack, having a lead, and then holding it for about 3 ends. But Alan's keeping him now. He's keeping him down to the side of the green, playing him round peg, playing him finger peg, just about 28 yards.
Yes, we've seen this mark used in the past. Last year in the final, in fact, Chris MacDonald beat Tommy Johnson by using this edge to great effect. But Chris has told me, no relation to V MacDonald, the reigning Bassmaster Chris MacDonald has told me that the edges of this green, certainly that one, have changed, Roy.
Oh, really? Oh, that's news to me. Yes, it's could well be, of course. You know, you get atmospheric conditions and winter feed and all that kind of thing. But he should know. He's the man that won it.
So it's against Bird at the moment. This the 11th end. Bird hoping for some running. Not enough. Not enough. Can't quite get down. That area we used to call the Three Ridge Country because there are 3 sort of steps down, so it makes it difficult to get away smoothly. There's certainly 1 to V MacDonald, and his little run there by Alan Bird.
MacDonald, 1.
Cuts it to 5-9. V MacDonald, who's a man who plays good pairs as well. been around. The Wire Festival, several greens. They've had difficult weather the last 3 years after a great start. But he's the local man, and he did exceptionally well to get through a field of that quality. As we say, they've got to master 5 greens. This time, this is difficult, Roy, isn't it? This is up to the crown, but there are all sorts of other things on the approach.
Yes, actually, from 3 of the 4 corners on this green, it's all uphill. Whichever way you go, out of the corners, it's uphill, and those little bowls of Vic MacDonald's have not quite made it. He needs to lead a lot nearer than that to put Alan Bird under some kind of pressure.
No, there's more running in that. He's given it a good yard of running. Just have gone out, Nice to pick up a double here, might just need a connection. Don't want to rub the jack too much. He'd half put the brakes on. Yes, 2. Alan Bird, Greater Manchester man, 32 appearances now, 9 with Lancashire prior to the breakup of the counties in this neck of the woods.
Coming all downhill now, Brian, just about 26 yards. A bowl short of the jack here is a good one, and this is a good lead from Alan Bird. And the difference in the 2 players at the moment, you can see it there. Alan's very confident, bubbling. V MacDonald, tentative, not sure of the length or anything like that, and once again he's gone well past.
Yes, this I would have thought, Roy, and you're a good spotter of these things, is just about a mark, isn't it? He's rubbed the jack actually from its original position, but it's just about, what is it, 20 metres? It's just about a metre over a legal mark.
Yes, as I said, it was all downhill, and I think it's probably about, I sometimes drift into the old vernacular of the yards. I think it's about 23 yards, actually.
I can't work out why they ever changed the Crown Green bowls measures. I mean, we still call woods as being 2 pound 10 or 12 ounces. Why on earth change distances? This is a good bowl. It's got to stop.
MacDonald, 1.
Yes. Good bowl. 6-11. Vic MacDonald off the block. He is a process worker at the British nuclear fuel place out at, I always call it Solwick. It's on the line between Preston and Blackpool. It's like a ghost station. I remember the train stopping there and nobody ever getting on or off. Solwick.
Solwick, yeah. I think quite a few people from Blackpool and Preston work there. But once again, look, you know, he's tentative. He's going uphill, and he's 2.5 yards off. You know, he's got to improve on that.
Needs a bit of nuclear fuel or something in his engine, does Mr. MacDonald at the moment. Looks better. Do with a bit of pegging now. Good length. Now then, Alan Bird taking his time, weighing it up, putting some weight in. He's got the second bowl, and he's just shaved it. Another one. Vic MacDonald.
One, Alan. MacDonald, 1. 7-11.
Well, that's confirmed. 7-11. Vic MacDonald. Difficult for Vic MacDonald to find some land now that's going to suit him, Roy, because while he's had the last 2 ends, he hasn't bowled at his best, I'm sure. His length has been indifferent, his leads have not been good.
He's coming to a downhill part of the green now, which might suit his small bowls. He's made a good lead.
Very good bowl. wins it, Alan Bird. Now then, put it up again, Vic. Through the gap. Good chance for two. The green running quicker. Coming now downhill. And into a dip and up again. Annoyed.
Bird.
Just the one, Alan Bird. So, Alan Bird, 12-7. He leads Vic MacDonald. In this, the first round of the Bassmasters. We'll be back just a moment with some more action. So 14-7 now is the Alan Bird lead. One end since you left us, and he's added another single. 15-7. Now that is a very tasty lead. It's a little break there of 4. He's very much in the driving seat. And only, I would suggest, Roy, is a change in form by both players would swing this game.
Well, that was a disastrous end for Vic MacDonald because, in fact, he knocked Alan Bowles' short ball in, and he's struggling so much, Vic. I think the only thing he can do now is to, when he gets the jack, to go right in the corners, because he'll find it easier to drop down with length than to go up. He'll get his length better once he's had a fling in the corners.
Just bobbling a few of these woods out, Vic MacDonald. Just take some running out. His line here looks very good. Yes, it just took a yard out the running. So 15-7 Alan Bird, just looking to turn the screw even more by adding a couple. The running is not right. No. Good chance for Vic MacDonald. He's missed the line, but he counts. He cuts the count at least to 1. Just wait for the players to arrive and confirm that the referee, Mary Ashcroft, is very quick. 1. 16-7. Big lead. Well, we just had a short pause. And Tiddles there is dicing with death if we start getting a few strikes. He certainly found something in the green that Vic MacDonald hasn't. Right, 16-7. And Vic, the older man, at 43. Alan Bird, 36. And this will run well for him, because this is an area of the green that is downhill and runs to within 9 inches of the jack.
And Alan Bird absolutely oozing confidence now, and that's a real first-class ball, coming about 40 yards out of the heavy corner. Very, very good lead. He's got Vic MacDonald so that he doesn't know where he is at the moment.
Yes, he will be disappointed, Roy, because they were so looking forward to it. He and Ron Betty, representing the Blackpool area, both members of the indoor club there at Staining. They play both codes. Left it. It still counts because the back bowl of Vic MacDonald's is 2.5 yards through, and a good 2.5 yards. I don't think it's improved. This will run a long way through. Oh, he's left 2. He's left 2. $18-7 is the Bird advantage now. Flying in.
You're right, Vic.
Break of 7.
Bird. 2.
When a game gets to this stage, Roy, with a player not having the jack in his hand for so long, it's so difficult to see him getting back in.
Yes, he's really struggling, and Alan Bird's playing some real fine balls, and this 45-yard mark, it's served him well. It's one I feel sure that he'll be bearing in mind for his next game, and when he comes on to practice, he'll have another 20 minutes on it. He's farmed it very well.
reason to change the length or the direction, and leads very well. Good line, but again his length lets him down. He's so annoyed with himself. Bird, one of the great runners in the game, keeps well away from a metre. They're allowed to go no closer than a metre.
You're just
To
over
running
the yard
wood.
short.
Good advice from the referee. Instantly answers the query. Now then, has he learned? There is a gap. He's into the gap. Now what about the length? Stop any time now. No.
Bird, 1.
So the run continues. 19-7. A double now will sort it all out. 19-7. This the 21st end. Alan Bird, Greater Manchester player from Failsworth. Plays for the Star Inn, a very famous bowling centre in North Manchester. Oh, and a Faro lead. Just run through. Yard through. This looks a bit like a steam train. Well through. So a good chance here for Bird to finish up. Lying with 1, needs 2 for game. Again, he looks to be on the road. He will try to take a yard out of the running, and has done. His length is excellent. He's just about a foot to the side of the jack, and he's lying with 2. He has to save. V MacDonald needs this. It looks better. It looks much better than his first bowl. But it's running. He's certainly saved. He lives. It's just the 1.
1.
But it's 27 all but 7. Alan Bird. Mr. Bird has done the business around the scene. He's won the Duraflex Open at Ramsbottom, the Owleywood Pairs with Barry Kitson at Northwich, Thwaites Floodlit Open on his own starring green, and Failsworth twice, 74 and 75. Good lead. When you're going for game and you're leading 45 yards across the green over the crown, that'll do. V MacDonald, if he can get into the channel, it'll run to the jack. Oh, that has won it. That's a good bowl. Yes. That is enough to bring Alan Bird up the green last end or not. It may not be, because MacDonald is certainly lying. He's just wondering whether he can afford to sneak inside that bowl, tickle the jack. Needs 1. I'd have thought he'd taken a bit of running out the wood there. And the foot got a little close to the bowl, and it is well short. But V MacDonald certainly counting 1. He'll have to put another one in now. Might well swing away, yes. He was too low.
MacDonald.
But he counts 1.
1.
Sympathetic, of course. Good crowd again here today. First day of the Bassmasters. Well, bad news for V MacDonald supporters is that he's trailing 8-20. That is an exceptional lead, isn't it? What a good lead. Difficult to shift that. He's going to have to play some running in it to move the bowl. thumb peg, just hoping now find a way through. It's not bad there. MacDonald still on. Maybe some heavyweight stuff coming with the final bowl. Maybe I'll be two. But Bird still to play. And Bird needing one for game. He can afford to play the same hand, the thumb peg, and hopefully just move the jack. So, 28. The Alan Bird lead needing this one bowl for game. But there are two bowls lying against him. With weight. With weight. Hoping to disturb the jack off. Oh dear. Everything off. Dead end. The situation doesn't move. It doesn't change. 28. The Alan Bird lead. V MacDonald to set the mark. Time for a laugh.
Well, we're rapidly approaching news time, but fear not, we're only away for half an hour, so you'll be able to find out how this game finishes at 1:30 here at the Woodlands Hotel in Ellesmere Port. We've got the weather and a big crowd for this opening day of the 1988 Bass Masters, and some extraordinary things have been going on. Right from the start, when N Fletcher went out to the left-hander from Blackburn, Mick O'Donnell. Fletcher firing, but not on all cylinders. Pat Davies is one of three women competing in a major televised singles tournament for the first time. We're now down to two. Ken Armitage was undaunted by the occasion, an historical one. Well, the top half of the draw is weakened considerably now that Mark Britton is out, the joint favourite, beaten comprehensively by the excellent Peter Varney. Well, there's confirmation of those three results, plus the outcome of the game, which ended just half an hour ago. Alan Bird never seriously in trouble against V MacDonald. Well, hello again from the Woodlands Hotel in Ellesmere Port, where the Bass Masters has been staged since 1982, and by tradition it offers the richest first prize in Crown Green Bowls, £5,500. But a break with tradition this year with the participation of 4 women, 3 players and a referee. Well, Pat Davies, as I said, had no joy a little earlier. Let's see now how Maureen Lyons is getting on again in her game against C Koral. Maureen's from Liverpool, and she built up an early lead against Chris. It was in fact 6-love at one stage. But Chris from Weaverham in Cheshire is playing under a bit of a handicap, partly his own fault. Chris forgot his playing shoes this morning, and when you've got size 13 feet, it's not easy to get replacements. Hence those ugly-looking black boots. And they're not really doing Chris too many favours this afternoon, because he is now trailing by 9 chalks to 5. Commentators Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
Indeed, and it's Maureen Lyons who's putting the boot in. No question of that. You saw that last blue bowl arrive. 6-0 she was up. She's leading 9-5 at this moment. And she really is bowling some splendid stuff. Fair to say that Big Chris has not done a great deal of competition in recent times. And Maureen decides that 1 is all she's going to take here. It's too dangerous to deliver the last bowl up. So she takes a single. 10-5, her lead. And I think there'll be many around in this audience here not totally surprised by the quality of Maureen's play. Brian?
Yes, in fact I thought all 3 ladies had a great chance, Hugh, but she was quoted at 5-4 to win the heat, and Chris was 5-4 on, but I now notice that she's come down from 66-1 for the title to 50-1, and she is a very fine player, particularly against the men. She raises her game. She plays them in the winter leagues, in the winter scene over, particularly in Altrincham. Takes them on and beats them, and she is playing so well.
Indeed, in fact, one of the major scalps that she took some years ago now was the late, great Dennis Mercer in a Sunday handicap at Altrincham at the Linotype Club. And that was certainly a very pretty feather in her cap that day.
Yes, she was the first lady to win there in December '87. Yeah. Good stuff. Tough competition. So, you know, she really can win this, and she can go a long way.
Unlucky Chris.
Lyons 2.
And Maureen takes a double. Chris Koral has not bowled a very great deal in recent years. A very responsible job with the an offshoot of the Northwest Area Development Agency, now with the government department bringing industry to the Northwest, which occupies a tremendous amount of his time. He doesn't have the time to compete. And of course a spell at Cambridge University interrupted his bowling career in its earliest days. He's Cambridge Blue and a degree in economics from Cambridge. Good ball. Maureen, these tiny little bowls she has, £2 9oz. Chris with very much heavier plastic 214s. Nice touch. 6-2. He's wondering if we're going to have the shootout at the OK Koral with Big Chris now 5 down, 7-12 after 14 ends. Interesting, Brian, that Chris has not tried to take the game long against Maureen. He too has been going for short 30-yard marks.
He won't outreach her here, that's why, because she does play the corners well. She likes the big greens, and she is never embarrassed by being flung as far as possible. So I think Chris is trying to settle on a length that suits his game and just try and mix it up a bit. But he's at a difficult stage, isn't he? 12-7, he's down. If she were to pick up 2 here, you really start fancying her chances.
Needs a hit. I needed a solid hit then. He's run on out for that particular bowl, but I think he may have nudged it very much closer to his first bowl. Referee Will Folks having a good look.
No, the last falls out of it.
I'll let go. Bowl doesn't count for anything. And a single.
1.
So it's 8-12. Chris Koral. Chris introduced to the game by his grandfather some 20 years ago, and he was still at school. Used to live right opposite a bowling green, so he got a fair little bit of practice. on a bit more. I think the yellow ball, which is
Yellow
on a
ball.
length, is in. It's in for 2. Maureen with some saving to do. Don't think there's any change there. I think that'll be 2.
Koral 2.
Yes, 2 to Chris Koral. And that is putting a totally new slant on this game. Chris, who was 6-0 down after 4 ends, now only 2 down after 16. 10-12.
I just went scanning this very impressive crowd, Hugh, to try and pick out Don Lyons, who is the husband of Maureen and is the organiser of the Isle of Man festivals. He was certainly sitting on the front row throughout the morning, but they have a little bit of thing, some husbands and wives, where the one doesn't watch the other because they feel it puts the Indian sign very much on them. And Maureen has said this about me. I've seen her lose so many times in finals and semi-finals. She banned me from the green when she won at Fleetwood, and she duly went on and produced the goods. So she's lying 1 and looking to get back into the driving seat again.
That was a fine ball from Chris. No change.
Koral 1.
So Chris Koral easing his way back into this match against the really diminutive figure of Maureen Lyons as they stand there. Chris 6'4" tall. I would have said the wrong height really for a bowler. It means he's got to get a tremendous amount of athleticism constantly to get himself low to the ground to get the delivery away. Let's see how much bend that ball has. Bang on a length. Fine delivery. Ringside spectators' view of this ball pulling up short. Quite a bit short. That's 2. 14-11. Maureen Lyons. So Maureen with the block back in her hands. Halting a run of 4, 5, 6 chalks by Chris Koral. Peg mark, finger peg delivery, making use of the slope of the green to complement the bias on the bowl. Bias on the bowl, turning it from left to right as we look at it. Stays in. Maureen holding another 2 here at the moment. Could change with this delivery. Oh. Needed to touch something. I think that's 2 more for Maureen. Yes. Well, doubles back to back for Maureen Lyons. Shoots her out in front, 16-11.
Plenty of applause there.
Plenty of action still to
Yes.
come here, and this game will still be in action when you come back to us.
We test and check our Ariston. For 10 years normal used to run. Last year we built 1 million Ariston. And on, and on, and on, and on. 300 servicing persons. Mega strong construction. There are 5 million going strong. Ariston. And on, and on.
I've learned a few rules in the art of survival. Number 1, be prepared for when the little darlings come to visit. 2, eat a bowl of Kellogg's All Bran every day to help your digestive system. When you feel fitter on the inside, you feel ready for the world outside. Number 3, beat them at their own game!
Kellogg's All Bran, the original high-fiber cereal.
Here's another one from Shaw.
For people who lead an active kind of life, Shaw Active Deodorant. It won't let you down.
Baby face, you've got the softest little baby face. Baby face, I'm up in heaven when I feel your warm embrace. You sure have started something, 'cause I fell in love with that cutest little baby.
Johnson's Baby Lotion keeps your skin feeling baby soft.
Everyday washing, blow drying, styling and brushing punish your hair. Once a week, you need VO5 hot oil to thoroughly and effectively condition. It actually penetrates hair to keep it looking its best. VO5 hot oil. For daily damage, get the weekly repair.
Measure, please.
Well, they're calling for a measure on this end. Since you were away, Chris Koral picked up a single to go from 16-11 when you left us to 16-12. That is to say, Maureen Lyons is leading 16-12. And I think Chris Koral is feeling a little despondent down there at the moment. Shooting for, trying for everything. Now, this is something that Chris said earlier in the day. Note that if I lose, I'll probably have to take the rest of the week off work. Not daring to show his face up in the Northwest Development Agency where he works. And it looks very much as though he is, at this moment, thinking in terms of not going in again this week. Because Maureen Lyons has now scored another single. 17-12, her lead. Chris, who had taken a little extra time off, hoping that he'd make progress in this competition, now knows that he's in for a bit of a ribbing when he returns to the Inwood Company in Chorley, government department which brings industry into the Northwest. Well, I suppose good things had to come to an end. We've had beautiful summer sunshine most of the day here in Whitby at Ellesmere Port. But spectators around the green at the Woodland Hotel are now looking for a little shelter. There's a flicker of rain in the wind. Unlucky. Chris trying really hard. He's in for 2. So Chris Koral is not out of this match yet. Chris, lovely big man with a fine sense of humour. We were asking him what his hobbies were, and he lists bird watching amongst his hobbies, which for a bachelor of 37, I suppose, makes some sense.
Yes, he was out there watching Alan Bird earlier. Surely that's what he means. Alan Bird from Greater Manchester, of course, who beat Big MacDonald. The interesting thing here is a great tactical game, isn't it? Because the big man, what is he, 6'3", ex-Cambridge University goalkeeper, is shortening the game all the time. They're going to shorter they dare, and Maureen is really heading for home and trying to get to the longer marks. Well, this fella now is playing much better.
Squeeze past. Yes. Bang on. Maureen's got some work to do here. That's trying very, very hard. But just a fraction too hard. So 2s back to back for Chris Koral. Takes him within 1 chalk of Maureen Lyons. He's only 16-17 down now.
It's the length he likes. His lead a yard short, certainly room for Maureen. But he's got to come a long way off that bank there, swinging all the way around. Trying, yes, it'll count. Well, it's 16-17 against the big man. And he's gone in. She wants to know the distance.
The yellow ball behind Jack to beat. Hey, that's working hard. Go on. I think it's there. It is. Oh, what a beautiful delivery. Under pressure. And she really dragged one out from the bottom of her bag of experience. Superb stuff by Maureen Lyons. 18-16. Well, even though the weather has turned a little chilly here at the Woodland Hotel, I don't think anybody's leaving their seats. They are really enjoying this. Another spectacular delivery. Line a little bit tighter than before and not enough weight. All the pressure in the world on tall, gangling Chris Koral. He's not only having to fight a fine bowler in Maureen Lyons, but the crowd as well, because they're very much on the ladies' side. Unlucky. One. 19-16. Maureen Lyons wins as Will Folkes buttons himself up in a very smart little rainproof jacket. But the bowlers don't appear to be worried by this scattering of rain, Brian.
They're not going to get Maureen Lyons off the green now, are they? 1916. Danger signs for Chris Koral. She's one double away from a remarkable win.
Puts that one straight towards the main part of the hotel. Chris coming down off the crown, down off the slope, trickle, trickle, trickle. And that's the winner at this moment. Heavy, it'll go through. There's a time, of course, when nerves may be getting it. Maureen, she's so close to bringing off a big upset. And Chris is fighting for his life, and he's doing it pretty well. Scores 2. So once again, it's a whole new ball game. 18-19, Chris Koral.
I think you've just hit it on the spot there, Hugh. It's nerves, isn't it? Nervous 19 for Maureen Lyons. Just got to hold her game together. She'll be shaking.
Oh, close. To hit something. No.
Hello.
If that stays in. No, it didn't. Now pressure bowl for Maureen. She wants to have a look and see.
Have a look, Chris, will you, please?
Referee, Wolf Oaks. Pressure bowl, because it could well be that Chris is holding 2. Looks better, looks better, looks better, looks better. It's in there. Yes. Single to Maureen Lyons. All but 18. Maureen on her way, she thinks, to putting out this gentle giant from Cheshire, Chris Koral. Maureen using the side of the green down the far side there, towards the big leaderboard. Can she put the pressure on with this first delivery, the lead? Oh, it's close enough. That's one to beat. When you only want one, Brian, that's not a bad lead, is it?
Hey, that'll do, Hugh. This is such an important bowl now, though, isn't it? That's it. He's opened it and got it.
He's got it.
Down, yellow ball.
So Maureen's got to come and have a look at this.
She's got problems, yeah.
It's going to take a tremendous bowl to beat that one.
Difficulty's getting past, isn't it?
The long, long walk back down for Maureen. The hotel in the background, the awning covering spectators, the stand this side, packed with spectators here. Some standing up to get a better view of this important bowl. No.
You're on 6 inches off. This one's a foot at the back.
Now, can Chris double this up now? No, I don't think so. It won't get up over that little hillock in front.
Koral 1.
A single to Chris Koral. And there's a buzz of conversation around this green. I think a buzz of apprehension amongst many of the ladies in the audience there. Chris, 1920, setting a mark out of a greater distance, I think, than he has in previous occasions when he's had the block. That's a good lead. That's bang on the length. Chris in striking distance. If he can get a 2 here, he'll win the match. Maureen only wants 1. It's not going to arrive by a long, long way. And I'm just wondering now whether the nervous tension is getting to her. So the match is in Chris Koral's hands at this moment. He's holding 2. Maureen. She wants 1. It's trying, it's trying, it's trying, it's trying. I wonder. It's certainly cut the count down if it hasn't done anything else.
Koral 1.
Yes, it's just 1. So, 20 across. What an amazing game. So, as long as the block stays on the green for the whole of this end, we'll know the winner. That's a pretty good lead. That is a beautiful lead. Can it run? Go on, go on, go on. Unlucky.
Yellow ball. It's a foot off. This one's 3 inches off.
Well, I should think Chris wants to stay away from this now. Drop it in the road somewhere. Maureen taking lots of time. Now, this 1 bowl. This 1 bowl to win it or save it. It's hit the yellow bowl. The yellow bowl was a blocker. It worked in Chris Koral's favour. Maureen Lyons is out. Chris Koral, who came from the dead in a really spectacular fashion, Brian. That was some match though, wasn't it?
Well, he had to play. It doesn't matter if it's a man against a woman, a man against a man. That really was superb bowls of the highest possible quality. Good early lead for Maureen. But you've got to salute the big fella. He came back. He wasn't playing that well. He finished the job at the end.
He did indeed, and he beat Maureen Lyons 21-20. And there'll be more tremendous action of that same quality back here at the Woodland Hotel when you rejoin us.
The first issue of New Woman was a sellout success. Make sure you get your copy of the second issue on sale now. New Woman, new you.
Ah, this is the life, Charlie, old lad. And what do you think? Any minute now, you're going to get a bone. And do you know what, Charlie, old lad? Your mother's going to bring me a delicious cup of perfectus.
Henry, dear, it's your PG time.
There's no other tea to beat PG, Charlie, old lad. And your mother makes the best cup of tea in the world.
I think Charlie prefers his bed, don't you, Charlie?
Every man to his own.
There is a food for dogs that contains over 50% more meat than the best-selling tin dog food in Britain. Its name is Winalot Prime.
Fresh cream cakes, too nice for words.
Well, why don't you shut up then?
Lucozade orange barley, now in big bottles.
Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. Delicious golden flakes of corn, encrusted with honey, nuts, and brown sugar, which makes them quite the most irresistible breakfast imaginable. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. The trouble is, they taste too good.
It's hot and cool, baby. Decidedly lighter.
Welcome back. More live action in just a moment, but for now, just let's reflect on the best bit of entertainment we've seen all day. That terrific match between C Koral, who won, and Maureen Lyons, who unfortunately lost, but you gave it your best shot, and it was mighty close at the end, wasn't it?
It was, yes. I enjoyed the game, and best of luck to Chris. And I wish it was me who'd gone through.
We saw what you said during the match, Chris, that if you did lose to Maureen, that you wouldn't go to work for a week. Were you serious?
For the next 2 days, yes. Yes. I was going to take a holiday. No, it was a great game, and I enjoyed playing Maureen, and she's a good sport, and it was played in a very professional way.
It was just not an easy game for you to play, and the crowd obviously were on Maureen's side, but I also thought they were very fair.
They were very fair, and when I got behind, you know, the British support the underdog, and I think they started giving me a bit of a cheer when I happened to put one reasonably close, which wasn't very often early in the game. But I got going towards the end, and I think saved my best couple of bleeds for the last two ends, which was crucial then.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't worked it out from start to finish yet, but I don't actually think you were behind at any point in the game, were you?
No.
Up to when Chris won on the last end?
The last end, yeah. That was the only time I was behind. Mm.
Now, the last end was obviously very crucial, 20 across. What was going through your mind at that point?
I thought, with the last wood, you know, I wasn't be short, and I was. I went and hit Chris's short wood. It was a good bobby he put up.
What was the jack significant, Chris?
The jack was where I wanted to put it because I'd practiced this mark a few times earlier in the week, and it went exactly where I wanted to, and I thought if I can just play 1, 2 or 3 inches in front, it would be very hard to beat. And I was very pleased to see that one going where it did.
We've seen quite a few matches today where the lead bowling hasn't been particularly good, but what goes through your mind when someone leads as well as that?
Gosh, how can I beat it? You just bowl and hope for the best. I was just short here. I just gave up. Actually, I thought it was off the land, but it did very well for me, that wood.
Now, this is a tactical bowl that you now play, Chris, isn't it?
It was meant to be, yes. I didn't want to play up in case I knocked Maureen in, and I wanted to try and put one about 3 or 4 yards in front that might hopefully be in the way and prevent Maureen's second bowl coming up and either knocking hers in or knocking mine out.
It's something that we see a great deal of in flat green bowling, not as commonplace on the Crown.
No, it's very difficult in Crown to put one right in the way because you can use the bias on either side of the green to get round a short wood.
From your point of view, or from his point of view rather, it was the perfect blocker, wasn't it?
It was, yes, because if you get too low there, it won't peg round at the end. It just keeps on falling away. So, yeah, all credit to Chris. He played a good bobby.
That was a great relief for you there, Chris.
Yes, it was. Yes, I think it was tomorrow.
Now look, I can't let you go without a reference to what happened this morning. Now apparently, you know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
You've forgot the shoes and you've got these immense feet.
Yeah, I've got rather large feet, yes. And when I arrived here, they didn't have any trainers large enough to fit me. So I asked if I could play in these and they said yes, fair enough. But I'll fetch them on Friday now.
Was it a bit of a handicap early on?
No, I enjoyed it, and I'm used to playing in these. These are my normal bowling shoes anyway, so I'm just glad I brought them this morning because I wasn't going to bring any.
Oh, great. That was a great show by both of you. I think we proved there that men and women certainly can compete on equal terms in Crown Green bowls. And incidentally, the only other pair of feet I've seen bigger than Chris's belonged to Tommy Cooper. And he won it, just like that. We're going to join live action now here at the Woodlands Hotel in Ellesmere Port. It's Steve Copeland against the veteran, Frank Kitchen. The score is 4-2. The commentators, Roy Armstrong and Hugh Johns.
And Frank Kitchen leading 4-2 at this moment. And has his first bowl is the winning bowl just here at the moment. This is Steve Copeland with the blue disc bowls. Failed to make a contact, neatly stopped by the referee, Mary Ashcroft. So Frank picks up another single, 5-2. I think it's a great thrill for all of us in the production team to see our number one boy, Frank Kitchen, who does so much work in these televised competitions, behind the scenes and out on the green as a referee, out there doing his stuff and showing us that he can play a bit, Roy.
Yes, indeed. I know that it's one of the things that's in Frank's mind, as in many of the players. The hard part is to qualify for the Bassmasters, and Frank's done that, and having done it, I know he's put a lot of time in on the green. In point of fact, I was here last night with him, and at about 6:10 he was absolutely bushed. He couldn't send another ball. So the quality play in this game will be very, very high, because he's playing a young man who's burst on the scene during the last 3 years. Very, very good player, and very consistent player, Steve Copeland.
Frank can't forget now that he's a referee as well. Telling the crowd and Steve what he considers the winning bowl is. Still pretty cold out there, but thank goodness the few spots of rain we had earlier have drifted away. I don't think it did enough to alter the speed of the green, Roy.
No, I think it's a little bit slower today. I think this is another one of those greens that reflects the sky. It's a little overcast and it's a little bit slower today, but any sun that comes out and the green speeds up about 1 to 2 yards.
Kitchen, 1.
So Frank Kitchen picks up another single. 6-2. 6-2. Frank's on a good line again. Hey, that's a good lead. Steve Copeland from Manchester, 25 years old. Been bowling some 12 years. Frank, of course, renowned in this part of the world for his days in the rugby league. It was only when he got injured and had to end his great career there that he turned to bowls. He was about 27 years old when he first went on the greens. Oh, good strike. That was a fine strike by Steve Copeland. He was in bother then, and he picked one out really beautifully. Steve was 2 down, and he picked that one out as sweet as a nut. So, Jack off the green, start all over again. So, Frank, 6-2. Denied a 2 on that last end. Looking to drop a 2 more in. That one is a fair lead. Frank just creeping round that short bowl. Drops in for 2. So Steve under pressure again. Whoops, and here he goes again, Steve. Striking. Got it. Got it again. This time knocks the 2 yellow bowls away and leaves his own blue bowl in there to count a single. So 3-6, Steve Copeland. So Steve hasn't had the block in his hands all that much. Frank, qualification, 128 entries. That was a good competition to win, Roy.
Warrington Charities, yes, it's a competition which perhaps isn't as famous as it used to be. Goes way back in time into the early 1900s. It's a competition that's been going for all that time. But usually it's our old friend Brian Duncan that wins that, but he was knocked out, I think, in the 3rd round, and Frank did a real fine job. And I suspect what he was doing there is what he's done here. He's put a lot of practice in. And that's the way to win. A lot of practice, and all that hard work is paying off. He's never far away, Frank, and he's here again, almost counting at this end.
Yes, and Frank, of course, would have been watching the previous game with tremendous interest. He does a lot with Dawn and Maureen Lyons to run the festivals in the Villa Marina in Douglas, in the Isle of Man. And he would have felt, as much as anybody, I think, sympathy for Maureen in losing that last match. Great personal friendship there. No. So Steve scores another single. Steve Copeland.
Copeland, 1.
Steve Copeland, 4-6. And of course, being a left-hander, this is always difficult for the right-hander, looking over the left-hander's shoulder when he puts a block out, because the land is going to be totally different, Roy, isn't it?
Yes, to be fair, Steve Copeland is a very orthodox left-hander. He doesn't exaggerate his style like Mick O'Donnell, for instance. But I've been very impressed with Steve Copeland. I've watched him over the last 3 years, and he's a very quiet lad, but he's a workman on the green, goes about his work, and just concentrates on the game, knows the correct balls to play, and this is the kind of length that he likes. Around about 28 yards is the kind of thing that Steve likes to do.
Well, the way to the block obscured by the 2 short bowls, 1 yellow and 1 blue. And Frank looks to be after the bowl. He's got it. No, didn't knock it far enough. I think the blue bowl is still in there.
That was a well-played bowl from Frank. Turned his peg, turned the bowl over, and a little bit full of contact, he'd have got that bowl out.
Copeland, 1.
So, Steve Copeland inching his way back into this match. From 6-2 down, he's now only 6-5 down. Oh, good lead. Good lead. I don't think that's going to arrive by a long way. Well, it went further than I thought it would, but still short. Yes.
2.
Well, Frank's got to find one here, or he's going to find himself behind for the first time in the match.
Piece is about 14 inch short.
Is he going to turn his bowl again, Roy?
I think he has. He's played through. He's playing a percentage bowl here. He realises it's got to be a perfect bowl to win the end. He's just trying to play through and sit the nearest bowl out.
He's got it. Super bowl. Lovely delivery. 1-7-5. Frank Kitchen. So Frank, a good lead. And I think it's exciting for all of us to see Frank down there. We work with him regularly. We don't see him bowling all that much. But I think players respect his qualities, Roy.
Yes, I know that in the competitions that I've taken part in and spoken with the other players, they like Frank to be on the green as a referee. He's a very positive sort of chap. He's a good judge. And of course, he's played the game at a very high standard, which is unusual. Most referees have not played to the standard that Frank's played. And as I say, he's very quick to give the right decision. And at the same time, he stands well clear of the end. In point of fact, Mary Ashcroft is copying Frank's style. She's standing well clear and yet being in a position to give the correct information. So I know that a lot of the players will miss Frank being on the green if he wins this game.
Well, he's picked up another single. He leads 8-5. It's one of the things I particularly like about Frank is the way he makes sure that spectators in every portion of the green are well aware of what's happening down there. It's often difficult to tell from great distance who's winning it, who's in for the shot at any one time. And Frank makes sure that everybody around the green is well aware of every developing situation. What a beautiful bowl by Steve Copeland.
I tell you what, Hugh, these two are playing really well, aren't they? Both of them are playing well.
Drive it in, drive it in. No, Frank says he's on one. I don't think anybody down there is going to argue with him. He may have knocked Frank in for another.
Kitchen. Lyons.
Yes, he has. So, Frank goes ahead 10-5. And Frank's only been behind once in this match. And that was the very first mark that was set. Steve Copeland won that one to take a 1-0 lead. Since then, he's been behind all the way. And Frank's on another good road. I think you're right, Roy. Frank's done his homework here.
Yes, he's using the 2 speeds of the green. It's uphill this way and downhill coming back, and he's got Steve Fox just at the moment.
Frank's on another good road here. Creep round the back. Well, he's holding 2.
Bowl, that last bowl.
Well, a really absorbing day's bowls. We'll be sure to bring you the result of this match and the other 2 played this afternoon a little later on, round about tea time. Tomorrow, day 2, we concentrate on the bottom half of the draw and 5 former winners of this title, including the current holder, Chris MacDonald. Bye-bye.
Tonight at 10:35, the big time beckons for Cyril McGregor.
You know he's listening to himself in there. That's his own tape of him singing.
Glynis, you don't understand. I am an artist. And an artist has got to be all the time criticising his own performance.
Oh, well, I could help you out there.
How do you define a star, Glenn? It's a person that's got some, thing about them that you can take and magnify 100 times, and it takes somebody to see that thing. Now, it might only be a small thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Have a peanut.
No time, Mr. Stanley. Singers never eat peanuts, didn't you know? Can stick in your throat.